the average value, we're all aware of this metric, we're all aware of its value, and yeah, how we can apply this to everyday life, everyday research, and data analysis. So I'm going to go into the value of this metric, but also the limitations. And rather than focus on the negatives, I'm going to look at a layered up version of the static average value. And I'm going to use a simple example to showcase this and showcase the power of building out strong metrics in order to inform our thinking. And this can be applied across different domains, different industries, but a good understanding of the foundations of statistical analysis and also the layered up versions, the metrics that we can use. So just as an example, Marcus Rashford has recently moved on loan to Barcelona. We'll say, hypothetically speaking, he's played 5 games. He scored 10 goals across these 5 games. So that's 2 goals per game on average. So that's quite good returns. I think everyone would be, yeah, that's pretty good return. So that's very useful information if you wanted to, if you're interested in placing a bet on Marcus Rashford to score in the next game. So 2 goals on average per game for 5 games, 10 goals scored. That's quite valuable information and quite good returns. Now, if we flip this and take a different example, for example, if we have a product and we have one customer and this customer has spent $100 across 5 days, that's $20 on average per game, so per day. So I'm going to showcase how that has value. This here does have value, but it has limitations, and we're going to use the football player, the soccer, the goal scorer to show the limitations here. So although that's good and will give us a good indication of if we want to place a bet, or also on the other flip side, if we want to understand our customer spend behavior. But we're going to focus on this for the moment. So the first game, here's the catch, that was a pre-season game. Marcus Rashford scored 8 goals. The next game started a season, 2 goals. So 0 goals, 0 goals, 0 goals. So already we can see the limitations here with just an isolated view of this data, this baseline data we have. Now, where the value really comes in here is when you widen the data set, so you have multiple games and you're looking at all the different information. So the moving average is exactly how it sounds. So this is what I call the static average value. The moving average, as mentioned, as it sounds, this is the moving average. So we define the period, the window, in terms of the actual moving average calculation. So I'm going to focus on what's known as the simple moving average. It's the exact same calculation to calculate the static average value. It's just on a moving window basis. So we have 5 games. I'm going to define the moving average window as 3 games. We could do that 2 games, 4 games, but I'm going to make the decision to define that window as a 3-game window. So the SMA. So, and once again, if you can envision a wider data set and how this will have value, because we can see already that recent games here is probably not the best option, but if you have a wider data set with different metrics, different goals per game, it's going to be more difficult to analyze from the raw scope, if that makes sense. So the SMA 3-game period, and this is representation of the goals. So the moving average representing the goals. So we, in terms of the first window, remember a 3-match window. So 1, we leave the first observation blank, the second observation blank, the third observation. So we calculate this simple moving average. So I can advise this is 3.3. So 3.3 goals on average per game. The next is 0.660. So we can see the decline. Now once again, please envision a wider data set where it's just not as visually observable. So we can see the decline in the recent games. So therefore we can make an assumption, and probably a good assumption, that placing a bet on Marcus Rashford to score in his next game isn't maybe the best decision. Isn't the best decision to make. So, in terms of that statistical analysis, this gives a bit of background into how sports betting businesses and operators build out their modelling. So, they will have layered metrics indicating their odds and how to calculate these. But if you just are interested in placing a bet from the bettor's perspective, once again, has value but limitations. Would be advisable to check out the moving averages, the SMA. So a strong technical indicator in the stocks and trading world, and for a reason. So it will give an indication of the recent trend movement. So in our case, the recent goal movements. One last thing, or one last metric. So we've looked at the SMA. There's three different metrics, popular metrics in terms of moving averages. You have the SMA, you have the CMA, so cumulative moving average, and you have the exponential moving average. Now the exponential moving average will put more weight on recent movements in our example, on recent goals scored. So if you widen that data set, it will be an even stronger indicator of the football player's recent form. Now if you flip that once again to your product, and you're looking at purchase history of one customer, and you apply the same logic, you can see how informative the foundations of your baseline statistical measurements, descriptive metrics are, but also your layered up statistical measurements. And there's a lot more indicators you can use. And the standard deviation gives you an indication. In our case, will give us an indication in our example of the goal scoring stability if that market is stable. So it's another good indicator. It's a very strong indicator in the stocks and trading world once again. And yes, something I would check out if you're interested in developing your own model in order to inform your sports betting in this, or even if you own a product and you want to further analyze the data, the foundations here will be key to unlock the potential of your data and build out good, strong, efficient models.